Good evening, everyone. We are live on Echo Means Business YouTube channel. My name is Naylor, also the lawn care rookie, LCR Media. We're here for episode 4 of Get to Know the Pro Live. Again, a little takeover on Echo Means Business YouTube channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching the replay. We're talking about SEO and websites tonight. We're joined by Bryan Ring, aka Ring-a-Ding. We got Rusty with Everage Lawn Care, and then we're going to hopefully have Joe DiPace with Beppe's Lawn Care joining us soon. You know how it is, guys. We're all out there working, hustling, so just pinning these guys down is a challenge, and I appreciate you guys coming in tonight for this. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. So we're just going to bounce around, go back and forth a little bit. We're going to start off with Bryan Ring, Ring-a-Ding. Why don't you just tell us briefly about why websites are important to you, like how you saw, the impacts in your business, like why you, like what, how did you even start thinking about websites? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how did it impact you, and then how did it impact your business?
Okay. Well, I think it was around 2010. I was using QuickBooks for all my invoicing, and I'm in the QuickBooks software, and in the upper right corner, I seen a little flashing sign that said, build your own website for free. So that's where it began. And I can't even begin to tell you what kind of challenge that was back then, making an Intuit website, the makers of QuickBooks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty lackluster, to say the least. I mean, it was, maybe, I don't know, the words that I recall vividly actually come from Blake Albertson when he talked about when I built his website, of how it's not a cookie cut paste type website, or whatever. Yeah. But that's what I had. That's essentially what I had. But while building that website, I ran across WordPress on the internet, because I'm searching on how to build a website, you know what I mean? Like teaching myself. So I can't even tell you the countless hours of reading that I did. I think it was the equivalent of that time back in 2010. I did more reading that year than I had ever done in my entire life up to that point altogether. So, I mean, it was kind of a unique challenge. I mean, especially for a guy who even today actually hates to read, as bad as that sounds. It's just true. But ever since I did find WordPress, I built a website and published it in the spring, I think of 2011, or that winter. I can't really recall. But anyway, from that point on, I had $0 in my bank account. You probably heard that story before in 2011. But from that point on, all the way up to, well, I'll just fast forward you to 2016 so you get an idea of what an actual WordPress website did for me personally. From 2011, $0 in the bank account that spring, to June 10th of 2016, I purchased the second home, which I'm in right now. All from mowing lawns and plowing snow. And, we can get into that, I'm sure, but that's the impact my personal website has done for my life and my business.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I've talked to you guys about how this year in particular, this spring, right after the snow melted here in Minnesota in April, I've got more calls and website submissions than ever in a season, like in a whole season in 1 month, which, I was talking to Rusty earlier. I'm like, there's no way I could have predicted that,
Yeah.
I just think, I mean, the only thing I can relate that to or kind of touch base on is that I've branded my name to the point where I'm starting to become synonymous with my town. Like, people recognize me. I mean, they see our trucks, our trailers, obviously. Then they're like, oh, go to his website because that's the only place you can really find me, Bryan Ring or Ring Lawn Care, online. Because we all know about the phone book, right?
Yeah. And at what point after that, then did you start, after all that success for yourself, where did you start making websites for other business owners?
It actually started around that same year. The first one I ever built other than mine, so the second one, it's called Done Right Painting and Decorating. Ironically, my oldest son's best friend, his dad's a painter. So I know the guy too personally. I built his website, and not to boast or brag, because I didn't even know what I was doing really back then. Ever since the first week of publishing, like the first week after I published it, he's been on the first page of Google. And that's 8 years. So, I mean, back then, all I was reading about was content is king, stuff like that, SEO. So I read up on SEO, and then I started implementing that. But for that website actually to be there still, and there's high competition in our town because they're from Stillwater also, it's kind of amazing. I have since switched him over to WordPress, and I charge him a small fee, not like, what I normally charge for an all-out website, because the content was already there,
Yeah.
So, plus he's a friend.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's switch gears a little bit. So I see we got Joe in. How's it going, Joe? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, sorry for the join there. It didn't usually when I get invited to a hangout, I get ringed. I didn't get ringed, but there's no excuses. We're here, ready to go. So
it's all good, man.
No. We were calling you 20 times.
You got to look out for it, man. You're supposed to be the Hangouts pro. What's the deal?
I don't know. Caught me slipping here.
It's all right. So, Rusty, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into business, and then go into how long you went without a website to getting a website.
Okay. This is my third year in business. I started in 2015 and, got everything with the business started up. Just, doing a couple lawns here and there. I was working full-time as a logistics manager. And basically, I off of a whim, I was actually looking, we just bought a house, and I was looking for a good push mower to mow the grass with. So of course I went to YouTube and started looking for reviews. And then that's whenever I came across Greg Chisholm, the Geek to Freak, and he had a review on a Troy-built motor, that mower. And that mower was actually in the big box Lowe's store in my local town. So after seeing his review, and I was thinking, well, heck, if this guy can do it for a business, then certainly it's going to work great for a homeowner. So I ended up purchasing that and continued to watch Greg, and it just kind of lit a fire into me. And I told my wife, I was like, I think I want to do that. I think I want to try to start a business like that. So, I started in business, and I think I was doing like 3 lawns extra, a week. And then it just I started getting on Facebook and kind of throwing it out there. 2016 came, and I was like, okay, I need to do a website. So I did just the normal cookie cutter, website. And then I was telling Bryan earlier, it had a little spot over to the side where it was like SEO, and you put keywords in there. I had no clue what I was doing, but I was just throwing in, keywords of, my local town, my state, like lawn mowing, lawn care, stuff like that. And that website netted me at the highest point was the second page of Google. And that was kind of like where Google Maps, now is kind of like the big thing to get verified and get your business on Google Maps. I wasn't doing that yet. So, I just thought, hey, I got a website, people's going to be able to find me. And then, it was really slow moving. But I did get some calls, but most of those calls came through my marketing on Facebook. And then I met Bryan Ring, fell in love with his story. He's a great guy. And we talked about, he's like, I know you already got a website, but this is what a good website, like professionally done, can do for you. So we made the deal. Bryan told me to get to writing, and that was probably the hardest thing that I ever had to do for my business, was trying to write stuff out for your website. But, after trial and error, Bryan getting me on the right page and, checking over my words and all that stuff, we finally got it locked down. He built the website. The website went live. I paid Bryan. And, basically, he told me, he goes, it's going to take like 6 months, to get all this stuff working for you. Just be patient. And I tell you, it wasn't 6 months. Bryan had me ranked in 3 months on the first page of Google. Now, in my area, there are a couple bigger companies that have websites. And now in 2018, we're starting to see the smaller guys like myself. They're starting to get websites, but they're kind of late in the game, where now, it's like I was telling Bryan earlier, I used to be ranked, I think it was like 8th in my local category for lawn care. And I just checked it today just to make sure and see where I was at, because I haven't checked it in a while. And I'm ranked number 1 on first page of Google, number 1 on the maps. So when you do any kind of search for lawn care, lawn mowing, whatever, Everage Lawn Care is at the top of that list.
That's awesome.
How it's really changed everything for me. I was able to quit my full-time job after 20 years of employment and go full-time in my lawn care business. And that was all because Bryan, his awesome SEO work, and the website that he built for me.
Awesome. So, that means you're getting contacted constantly then from your website, directly from your website, right? Like you can see all of the,
you're going to show it
just from your website.
Yeah. I showed Bryan my paper earlier. It's probably hard to see, but that's just from, 1 day's worth of calls, and contact entry forms on my website, and returning calls to people and getting things set up. I have to go do all those estimates tomorrow.
Yeah. And how much were you getting before that website a day?
It wasn't even a day, Naylor. We're talking like, if I was lucky, once a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome. And that's the difference between a professional website and one of the cookie cutter websites. That's my experience on it.
That's awesome. Well, there's the proof right there. How about you, Joe? Tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, how you got started, and when you went from 0 website to having a website, and how it's affecting your business now.
Okay. You want the short version or the long version?
The brief version.
Yeah. Basically, I was working at a pizzeria early as like my first job, license, all that. One of the guys I worked with, he wasn't working there anymore, but had a lawn care business. And winter came around, December 2013, and he asked me if I wanted to do some driveways for him. And I know I was doing people on my street, so I started doing some snow removal for him, subcontracting. And then turned 2014, started doing the lawn work. I got brought in with a company, and that's kind of my start into lawn care. So 2014 was like the subcontract, work for someone year, and then the next year is when I was kind of under my own belt. If there's any way I can describe my website today, I remember those first couple of years, you go mailbox to mailbox, door to door. That's kind of what SEO work does for you. If I can describe it the best, imagine while you're working, you're able to, mow a lawn, install a landscape, whichever service you do, that SEO is acting like it's putting a postcard or putting your business or your brand in front of somebody. It took about, 2014 I started, the end of 2017, I was able to get my website done by Bryan there. So it's been basically 2 seasons I've had it. So, but before I knew Bryan for about a year, and I knew he built websites. So it kind of really did it for me and solidified that he is professional when it comes to SEO work and, creating websites and getting you found locally. So when I went to the GIE, I probably shook hands with 8 to 10 people that he built a website for. You could kind of just see, look in their face how grateful they were for the website. And that was like this kind of the last piece for me to say, you know what, it's time, and now that it is done and it's, been 2 seasons, the only regret I had is if I wish I did it sooner, right? You get your brand out in front of people. Now you're going to be able to cater to every single person that calls, like Rusty showed that day. It'd be hard, depending on how big the size of your operation is. But what the thing is you're building your brand, you're getting recognized. Come spring rush, it's, if I go out in the field and I try to work, almost every lawn I go on for the day, there's some kind of interruption, an email, a phone call, or something. And, you can ask everybody that calls in or every lead you get. Sometimes it's directly off the website. Sometimes, it's because of the SEO work bumping you up on Google, and then that's how you get found. So not only does Bryan just kind of build the website, he kind of showed me following steps, almost like a mentorship, but also he told me what you need to do after. You need to take pictures of your work so we can update the website, post this video here, just to kind of stuff that helps with your SEO work, right? So
yeah,
the phone's been blowing up for me. It's been busy. I mean, the website was definitely a crucial turning point into my business, going from paper marketing, to being able to be out in the field, and that SEO work is working for me while I'm, raking in the actual physical revenue.
Yeah, that's awesome, Joe. So how, like Rusty showed an example, how much would you say you get contacted on a daily basis versus before your website?
It was like Rusty said, maybe a couple calls a week, handful of calls when it's the busy time of the year. I had like a cookie cutter website too. It had no back work to it. But now that the website, has been up and, the ranking, I've gone up in the rankings for my business. I mean, springtime, 5 to 10, calls or forms of contact a day. And then, kind of like today, I think I had maybe 5 phone calls today, just about, it could, not every day is consistent, but I could say, I know through a whole week, I'm going to need that headset, every single day to answer some calls or reply to some emails.
Awesome. So thanks for sharing, guys. So Bryan, why don't you can you shed a little light on both of these guys? And I'm sure it's common, even yourself, right? In the early days, talking about cookie cutter websites and things that are lacking, just the meat and potatoes and the stuff that really makes websites work, which is what, SEO, right? That's really what a lot of websites are lacking. I mean, why don't you tell us, like, what are some of the common things that are missing from people's websites when they try and do it themselves, or even pay someone to do it that doesn't really know what they're doing, maybe?
Well, first of all, like, a lot of people, they miss the opportunity of the content. They don't understand that, a one-page website may work for you, but it most likely won't get the results like we're all talking about right now. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about, Facebook ads and, being on Facebook, and they're getting a lot of clients that way. I mean, that's great, but I honestly can tell you, that every market is different. I mean, like Joe, he's fighting, in Michigan for what, $30 lawns, I mean, and you come to Minnesota, his 30s are 60, you know what I mean? So every market's different in that regard, but across the board, it doesn't matter. In every single market, content is what's missing, whether, like you're branding your company name, right? How do you do that? You know what I mean? You need words, I mean, you need words. That's all there's to it. And you need proof, like photos, it is that simple, and I know some people, they don't want their face shown on their website or even shown like on their Facebook business page or something, right? or Instagram for that matter. But you got to get over that, because I can tell you right now, customers want to see you, you know, like you.
Yes.
Like, this is my first year realistically not in the field, but the customers still want to see me. They really do. So that's why if you go to my website, I mean, you'll see me on a mower or something, right? Whatever. But it is that what they're actually missing. I mean, you can put your truck on your website, that's fine. You can put a mower on your website, that's fine. But people want to see people. They really do. And they really want to know about you. They really want to know how you're going to do it, why you're going to do it, when you're going to do it. You know what I mean? They want to know that. So it's up to you, realistically, the owner of the company or the web designer or whoever's doing your writing, to teach a potential client of what they're going to get if they hire you. You know, and that's what I relay to most people that want a website. I could do the writing for you easily. I might have to charge you more, first of all. Second, it's going to end up sounding like Bryan Ring, you know, like Joel's from Michigan, you know, Rusty's from Indiana. You know, I might talk different or write different than most people in those areas, right, would be accustomed to reading or hearing, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that's why I have people write. And I know maybe some web developers might go, that's crazy. But don't make no mistake. I'm not simply taking all of their content and their words and just copying and pasting it or something like that. I'm literally proofreading it. Like, there's going to be mistakes, you know, because some of these people, you know, they're just laborers, right? They don't write, you know, like Rusty was saying, you know, it was like painful for him to write, you know, and I get that. Because, I mean, I hate reading, you know, but I'll do that because that's who I am now. You know, I mean, like, the biggest reason I even offered building a website is because of what it did for my business. And I noticed that there's people out there who just did not simply know. That's it. Yeah. I mean, this isn't, you know, I'm out trying to make $1 million off of building websites, because anybody can look at any one of my websites right now and go, you only charge what for that? Yeah. And then that guy's getting that type of results. But then, you know, I might get web developers looking at that going, that's pretty cheap. That's pretty cheap. Or you might get guys like us that go, oh my God, I can't afford that. You know, I mean, and that's what you got to deal with in this particular type of, I don't know, world, I guess you'd say. But those are the people I do run across.
So how many
can I jump in?
How many websites have you built in total?
I don't know. It's got to be pushing 40. I would
it
think.
Doesn't have to be exact, but just like
I haven't counted, but I do that. I normally do the website update, and I have it on an Excel spreadsheet where I keep track of it. It's 30 something. I know that it's 30 something.
That's awesome. 30 something brothers in the industry, brothers and sisters in the industry that are just going to be out there killing it now because you built those websites with everything that you're talking about. And that's awesome. And I'm sure Rusty and Joe are just two of those stories that probably all have similar experiences, because it just seems inevitable when you have the right setup. You know, when you're doing good work and you have the right website to get that out there for people to see and bring them into you, then it just seems like a slam dunk right there. Can you just actually, Rusty, were you trying to say something before? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch base on what Bryan was just talking about, because I was that guy like, oh my gosh, I can't afford like a legit website. And I can tell you that my website has generated way, way more money than what I've got into it. So if there's anybody out there that's thinking that they just can't afford this, you can't afford not to do this. It's that simple.
Yeah,
it's true.
I wanted to add one more thing to that too. Bryan and Rusty were saying, anybody that's, you know, on the fence for a website, you don't need, you know, someone to build it. You can do it yourself, right? But the reason a lot of people choose a professional to build it is, take it this way: you can cut your own hair, right, But you cut it. How many times do you have to cut your hair before you dial it in, right? Before you like it. So the one thing with Bryan and his websites is Bryan is obviously has years and years of that reading and the experience, where if someone's go build it themselves, it might take some trial and error, in which could not jeopardize your business, but jeopardize time to build your brand, to go up in the rankings. It could take you a couple seasons to figure out the SEO. And so you got to look at Bryan as someone that's done it, knows how, he's going to be your barber for your website essentially, right?
Yeah. Or look at it this way, right? I mean, homeowners contact us to cut their lawn, right? They get a professional service to cut their lawn and make it look good and look right, because that's what they want. So we should be doing the same thing for our website to grow our business instead of screwing around with it ourselves. So
that's right.
Yeah.
It is true.
I want to touch base real quick on SEO. We throw that out there, but there might be a lot of people that don't know what the heck we're talking about, right? So search engine optimization. Ring, what does that really mean in the most simplistic way possible for anyone to understand?
Please all the search engines.
Okay.
Optimize your content.
Like Google and all that.
Yep. Google, Yahoo, Bing, even Apple. But there's millions of search engines out there. Obviously, the number one that you're really aiming to please is Google, because all other search engines will actually bite off of Google, the content that Google is producing, and then, somewhat make it their own. And you've seen that, like if you've been on different browsers or something or whatever, you'll notice that, but the biggest thing with search engine optimization, there's many things, and I'll give you basics, I guess. Obviously the content is one, having a good business listing. We've heard this before. And even optimizing your business listing, a lot of people overlook that, like, especially in our industry where, like, let's just say we're doing fertilization for a living. Let's just say we're doing that. Do we want to run 30 miles one way for one job to make a living? Off of one job? If it's paying $60,000 a year, okay, yes, okay, go do that, Yeah. But if it's like a $50 lawn or something, and we got to come there 5 times, it's $250 a year worth going 60 miles. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have an opportunity in your Google business listing to, create, somewhat of a route dense type situation for yourself, especially lawn mowing, because obviously that's just there's a profit line. Doesn't matter what market you're in, there's always going to be that profit line that you're hovering around. Yeah. But you have an opportunity again in Google, their business listing, to put in cities and towns that you want to be found in, and Google will do its best to place you there. Like Rusty was saying, he just found out he's number 1 in Madison, Indiana now, right? And he just looked today, right? Or maybe he's not punched out of his Gmail and he showed up number 1, which, that's a golden rule there. So yeah, if like you ever are checking your rankings and you're punched into your Gmail account, sign out first and then do a search. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't checked, but I'll take your word for it. Appreciate it. But also, yeah, like even with your photos, a lot of people don't know when you're adding photos to your website to literally resize them before you even upload them to the website, because Google also looks at page load speed. Sometimes you might see like some websites that you come to and the page is taking forever to load up because there's this big picture where it's going load. You ever see that before? Yeah. So, Google will penalize you for that. So like that'll affect your rankings, if like you're not shrinking your file size on your photos. Also with photos, I know this is out there and getting kind of technical, but you can literally write words inside a photo behind the scenes after you have uploaded to your website. And the thing that some people don't know is you can actually title your photo. Let's say, I don't know, let's just say it's a lawnmower, right? That you're going to upload of a photo of that.
Yeah.
You can title that after you have resized it. Okay. Lawn mowing, Stillwater, Minnesota. You can title it that. Save it to your computer. Okay. And then when you're ready to upload it to your website, it's already having that title. So those words people don't realize are very significant when Google's spiders come and read your content on your website. It is pretty basic. I mean, in the website world or SEO world that I'm saying, some common sense stuff. But also like SSL certificate. If you don't know what that is, I highly recommend Googling that. Google has now made that, like required. They're like requiring you to have that. In WordPress, usually will give that free to, especially like on a Bluehost account, you'll get it free. There is a paid version. And the reason you would want an SSL certificate is because of cyber attacks on your website. And especially if like you're selling anything off your website, you definitely want this certificate. Also, simply just if you log into your website, I mean, like you literally keyboard to log into your website, you're susceptible to a cyber attack. And a lot of people don't think about that stuff, And it's like, people like me who are just kind of self-taught, has learned this in the 8 years, I guess, I've been building websites, which, of course, it all started, kind of like, I don't want to say like a Bill Gates or anything like that, but, I started at my kitchen table. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe not in the garage, but.
Not in the garage.
Not in the garage. Well, I mean, it does take time, and it really is a time-consuming process where some people just don't understand that, I'm just trying to make it right. I'm doing everything I personally possibly can to put you in a position to answer the phone. So after I build it, it's up to you, to take it to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think in summary, what it sounds like to me is, you can build the best website by yourself or with help or pay someone to build the best website, and it could look beautiful. But if you don't have the right SEO, it's like spending all this time filming, editing, and uploading a YouTube video, but never clicking public. No one's ever
exactly.
No one's ever going to see it. So what's the point of spending all that time on that website if you're not going to spend just as much, if not more, time on SEO work to get your website out there and seen? So the moral to the story, right, is just to make sure that both of those things are together, going hand in hand, and whoever you have, whether it's Ring-a-Ding or someone else, or yourself, make sure that you understand that and that you're doing both things so you get the most benefit. Otherwise, website, that's when you see people saying, website doesn't do anything for me, because you probably didn't do all the right components. You might have a great website and no SEO, or you might actually have some decent SEO, but your website doesn't look appealing to people, so you have to have both things going. So that's just kind of my take on it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what it seems like, is my experience.
No, most definitely. I mean, you're a YouTube, creator. What they're asking for. It's no different with websites. I mean, you need a good title, right, for a page. You need a good title for a video.
Yeah.
Right? So within a page, let's say you wrote out some content, let's say for your lawn mowing page or something, right? So you're describing, what you're going to be doing, how you're going to do it, why you're doing it, when you're doing it, right? And meanwhile, you're trying to sprinkle in keywords that people will Google or search for when they're looking for a service. So, you don't want to have it too long of like keyword phrases. I mean, that's really important, but you do want keyword phrases. You get some of these I don't know-it-alls that just say, oh, you just need a keyword like lawn mowing, done, and then they start sprinkling lawn mowing all over their page. Well,
Yeah.
the search engines are actually going to come around and say, no, you can't do that. For better lack of word, they're going to smack the keywords out of you. You know what I mean? Like you put too many. So what they call that, like in the website world or SEO world, is keyword stuffing. You don't want to overdo it. Like if you ask for a medium burger, you want a little pink in there, right? So if you're continuously cooking it, what's going to happen? You're going to cook the pink right out of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's no different with the website. You don't want to use a keyword that could possibly get your business found too many times.
Yeah.
But it is important.
Yeah. I love all these analogies that we're coming up with. It's great.
I don't even know where they're coming from because I'm not really that thoughtful of a jokester.
So gentlemen, I appreciate all the time you spent out of your night, out of your day preparing for this and your night. I just want a few closing remarks from you all. Rusty, Joe, what's one thing, Rusty, we'll start with you. What's one thing that you can offer advice for anyone that is in your shoes or could be in your shoes in the near future, like starting out, having a young business and all that? With websites.
Yeah, I was going to say, if knowing what I know now, I would have definitely got with Bryan or a professional to do my website in 2015. I couldn't imagine where I would be at today had I taken that early of a start in my business. Like I said, I tried it with the cookie cutter stuff. It didn't work out well for me. And it's been on fire ever since. When you wake up and you have, 6, 7, 8, 10 contact forms, and you were, getting up the next day, it was overwhelming the first time that happened to me. I'm just like, holy crap. And,
but that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have. But his nickname is Ring-a-Ding, it works. He makes that phone ring a ding ding, or your email's blowing up.
Yeah.
But that's what I'd say. I'd say just if you're even thinking about a website, you just got to do it.
Gotcha. Awesome. How about you, Joe?
I would say go and get the website as soon as possible or as soon as you can, so you can start doing the work that you want to do and build the business that you want to build. Because it'll help you, that much get to where you want to go that much faster.
Awesome. Wow. Short and sweet, man. Good stuff. So Ring, I would just want to know where do people, what kind of resources can people have or find to get some of this information, that in addition to yourself, if you have the time for that, for them to get this information for building websites themselves, or knowing what they should know when they're asking someone else to build a website for them, so they don't kind of get duped,
Yeah.
Some information.
I can point you to a ton of websites. I do have a pre-written outline of things that, like for your website, you would have to do. I know I've sent it to a couple thousand people maybe. And they've just had to make their own decision on what they want to do. I know I've had people sign up with the same hosting account I have, Bluehost. You got to have a hosting account. You obviously have to have a domain name like ringlawncare.com. So you have to purchase that on your own and the hosting. And WordPress, to be upfront with you, you want to talk about SEO, like WordPress is a content management system that on its own, it's already SEO ready. You know what I mean? Like Google recognizes WordPress as just one of the greatest platforms to host or, host content. There's other content management systems out there, but check out WordPress.org. It might look like something from outer space. I know I've said it before, if it's the first time you ever see it. but just know you got to have hosting, a domain, and whatever content management system you choose. But if you're like looking at like for SEO, go to Yoast, yoast.com. This is a gentleman that's built, I don't know, everything around WordPress, and maybe since 2008 has really taken SEO to a whole different level, and he's taught it and he's shared it. He shares a bunch of stuff about WordPress also that may just kind of open your eyes to, maybe something you've never ever seen before, and, something that could definitely take your business to a different level. But I guess I could go on and on and on. I might be putting people to sleep right now for all I know. But as far as what a website's actually done for my business, it's similar to what it's doing for these guys. These guys are still kind of young in their business with a website. Yeah. And I was talking with Rusty earlier about just patience. I know Gary Vee talks about patience, and, it's not like I'm biting off of him. It just, I lived it already. Like he talks about the long game. Man, remember 2002 to 2011? Yeah. I'm at a turning point going, I'm doing my business wrong. I'm just doing it wrong. And now I hear Gary Vee going long game. You know what I mean? Like I've been playing the long game,
Yeah, definitely. Because it takes time to build. It takes time, but you got to do the right stuff. You got to put the right things in place, and then keep at it, and then let it build and build to the point where you're at now. Absolutely. Yeah.
And, branding your name, like getting people to get to your website, to get website traffic up. That's a key component to helping you in the search rankings. But when people get to your website, let there please be something there that can either educate or just tell more about you and what you do. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great closing advice right there. Where, if anybody that's watching this or will watch it wants to reach out to any of the three of you, where, and you're cool with that, where would you send them? Where do you want them to go?
You haven't put all my links in your comment section yet?
Yeah, we do. But people like to hear it too. You might have another place where you want them to go. Those are just your basic links there. So,
basically Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Honestly, I've been so busy this year. I've talked to Rusty about this, and Joe, and you too, Naylor. Just the time to pick the camera up, I don't understand how it's not there. Okay. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
But those are places you can find me, I guess.
Yes. So Facebook is a good place for you guys. If people message you or reach out to you just to get
Facebook,
some questions. Stuff. Yeah. Facebook,
yeah,
Instagram.
For me, Instagram, Snapchat, it's all Everage Lawn Care. So.
All right.
Instagram's Beppe's Lawn Care.
Beppe's Lawn Care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just because some people out there might want to just kind of reach out to Ring as well as you guys, like, hey, so what about this or what about that? Since you guys are going through it right now, so just want to
just go to echo.com. You'll see Ring-a-ding all over the place.
All right, guys. Well, I know it's getting late, and I said that I wanted to be done, a little bit sooner than now, but I think we talked about a lot of good things, and I really appreciate the time that you spent, and I know the viewers have and will. So thank you guys for tuning in with me and talking everything out. I really appreciate it. And you guys have a great rest of your season, and I'll talk to you guys the next time.
Thanks, Naylor.
All right.
Thanks, Naylor.
Thanks. Have a good night.
See ya.
You too. We'll see ya.
See ya.